Okay, folks, let's get started. Good afternoon to everybody. Thank you all for joining this session. My name is Nilesh Patel, and I'm a CEO and founder of LeadSquared, the marketing automation software company. And I've been joined here by my colleague Meenu Joshi here. She'll be helping me in some of the Q&As which might come along during the session. So today the topic for our webinar is how to be a smarter education marketer, and so I'll be talking about one segment of the education market, which is the foreign, or I would say the overseas consultants who basically help students find career opportunities in the in regions outside of India, in Western countries or in Australia or other places, and help them build their career. So I've taken them as a model for today's discussion, and I'll be talking about how they would go about doing certain things in their marketing. And before I would start the presentation, I have I'll add a couple of things. First, this session is being recorded, so you will get access to the recording of the session within 4 business days, and we will send the presentation as well along with that. And this session is going to be about an hour long, could be less. But we will try to finish it before that. We'll take the Q&A towards the end of the session. So if you have any questions, feel free to put them on the question pane, and we will take them towards the end of the session. And some of the folks who would have seen our email for the webinar would have looked at a survey link which we sent in that email. So I'll quickly share the survey response with you all for you all to know what all your fellow marketers have been or what are they doing in their business. And so we had only 8 people respond to it. So I'm sure if more of you participate in the surveys, we'll have a better sense of what the market is doing or what all the marketers are thinking of. So basically, we ask the following in our the following 7 questions in our survey, and this is for the business, for the consultants who send students abroad. So how many students you enrolled last year? So basically, how many students you actually sent over and did the enrollment. So we got a mix. We got 50% of the people who participated in the survey had less than 100 students enrolled, and then we've got between 100 to 501, and then 500 to 1,000 2 people, and then more than 5,000 one respondent. Then we have got the next question was if you let's say enroll n number of students in a year, how many leads you really need to meet those numbers, right? So we've got a varied response. So 50% of the participants did not share, or basically the options didn't meet their the exact number of leads they need. But 50% of the market basically said, I need 3 times the leads, I need 8 times the leads of enrollment, and I need 10 times the leads. So the truth may lie somewhere in between, maybe, right? So it probably 8 to 10. So basically, if you're enrolling 1,000 students, then you have to budget for generating let's say 8 to 10,000 leads at the minimum. Then we have another question, which is what is the ratio of leads walking into your office for a personal meeting or the counseling session versus the leads you have generated? So there, if you see, the 75% of the participants says 1 to 5%. So basically, if you are saying you get so this, I probably didn't understand this very well, because in the last slide, if you see, some people responded saying they need 10 times the lead for enrollment, and if you see here, only 1 to 5% actually walk into your office. So I'm not very sure what, maybe the survey was misunderstood at that place. But what it's looking at this particular data, you can say that to generate. So it's pretty interesting to see that if you generate 100 leads, you only get 5 people walking in your office. That's really bad, right? I mean, you spend so much money on online. So what is that the marketers and business can do to improve this ratio, because that affects the net enrollment for you, right? So that number doesn't look very good as on today from the participants. Then we have another, what is the ratio of walk-ins to students? So many, for example, if you've got 100 people walking in, out of that, how many you convert into enrollment? Basically, they take counseling from you and then participate in a course which you are offering them from your partner university. Here too there was a varied sense response. So 50% of the participants says they're able to convert 15% of the walk-ins into enrollment, and so that seems to be on the higher end, and the rest of them are saying less than 2%. So this is pretty bad, obviously. So anything less than 5% of the counseling, personal counseling, seems to be difficult, but that's what we are seeing in the response. And then what is your overall marketing spend per season? So basically, so when I say season, meaning I'm assuming it's probably 4 to 6 months of marketing spend or a little bit more. So we've got varied responses here too. So we've got one high budget marketer here, and then a couple of them with the 10 to 25 lakhs, and then rest of them under 10 lakhs. And then we see what is the percentage of the online marketing spend in the total spend. So we see a varied response here too. So looking at this, we can make some sort of assessment that the online spend is is at least 15% to 20% of the total marketing spend for a lot of the for the market in general in this segment. And then how do you manage your leads today? So you see we've got a varied response. Obviously, it was a LeadSquared sponsored survey, so we have put our name there. So we got a few participants already using LeadSquared. Others, there are participants using other software or using Excel or in-house system to manage the lead. So that was the response for the survey, and I'll just sort of dive into the details. So we'll probably refer whenever it's necessary in the presentation, the survey piece. So I would request you all to, if you can please participate more graciously in future surveys. We'll get a very good sense of what the market is thinking about the online budgets, how they're spending, what they're doing with the marketing, and so on and so forth. So all of us will get a chance to learn about how the market is moving, and this information, as I said, will be shared with everybody. So it's it's an anonymous survey, so we don't collect anybody's name in this survey. So obviously there won't be any identity issues involved, right? Okay. So how to be a smarter education marketer, right? So this is what I'll cover in my session today. So what are the typical marketing challenges, right? And how do marketers can generate higher lead volumes and ensure higher lead quality? How to drive better walk-ins to lead ratio, and how to drive student engagement through the long sales cycle. In the case of overseas education, as you would know, that from the time of lead generation to walk-in to counseling to actually processing the visa and sending over the student to the college, it's a long sales cycle overall, and there are a lot of risks involved for the consultants throughout the process. So that we'll talk about that, and how do we analyze the marketing spend, if there is a way to do it so that we identify the best lead sources for our business, right? So as I'm going to talk about this particular category of education segment, I will also delve into other categories as and when it calls for, so that for the benefit of other marketers who are joining us today, so that the session is also relevant for them. So what are the marketing challenges, right? So I think the whole process of getting traffic to lead to walk in to driving the engagement to the admission process. I mean, these are so we see top three challenges. I would say. So one is the lead quality issues, then lower lead volume, which results obviously in lower enrollment numbers. Then making sure that we get the relevant student walk-ins for the business, and then engaging the students through the sales cycle till the final admission is also a challenge faced by this category of education marketers. So how do we get to the higher lead volume and better lead quality? So these are the following few methods which are being currently used by the consultants to drive the leads. And so obviously they buy leads, right? So they buy leads from third-party sources like Sulekha, Just Dial, Siksha, and Education Next, and other people. Or they have partners which are independent consultants. They may be based in smaller cities who would basically send over the students, to the larger consulting firms. And then they would spend the other sources, digital marketing, which is online ads, Facebook ads, or partnership with other providers, like could be Tyru, Ibibo, and those guys. Then the other source of traffic is organic, which is your blog, website, social media, and the presence on social media, where you would sort of get the traffic coming in. And then your offline sources, which are education fairs, your newspaper advertisements, and other BTL activities, would sort of clubbed into the offline sources. So this is how the traditional consultants go ahead and generate leads. So how do we ensure the lead quality? So when you're buying leads, obviously most of the people out there would have experience, would not have a very good experience of buying leads, right? So there are two problems in that. One, the lead quality itself, or the vendor is not reputed, or you want to buy at the cheapest possible price, which means that a lead could be shared, or one person who's selling the lead would have bought it from somebody else, and so on. So the source of where this vendor is generating lead itself is not very good, which results in a poor lead quality. So obviously vendor assessment is an important element. Then knowing how the vendor collects the lead is equally important. So if you know a vendor collects a lead in so and so form, then you would have a better sense of the lead quality which is coming to you, right? So there are ways to ask this question to your vendors who provide these leads, so that you can understand how they actually go about generating leads, so that you would know what it means, what would be the lead quality which will come to you. Then you may insist in basically asking them to create custom forms for you, which will ensure that you have you're asking more fields or more information from the form. Obviously, it may mean that the lead cost may go up for you, because the vendor may insist that if you ask for more fields, it will be costlier for you. But then what is really important, apart from lead volume, is also the quality of the lead, right? So so that's important. So we need to make sure we get them to have forms field in the forms, like asking for the marks or the budget or which country they want to take a course in. Maybe if you are a consultant who's not catering to Australia, you don't want to get leads which are students who want to go to Australia, for example, right? So that's one part. Then the other element is when you're doing campaigns like PPC, right? So most of the consultants either would one of the two options they would choose. Either they will have an agency doing the adverts for them, or you would do that function in-house, right? So if you do it in-house, then you need to have some kind of expertise in terms of making sure that you are targeting the right set of keywords. You're ensuring you have a negative keyword. You're looking at all the keywords which are generating the clicks for you, so that you can go and mark them negative on a daily basis or at least periodically, right? In the same way, you have somebody to do the creative, so that if you're running display ads or doing remarketing, you have nice creatives out there, so that you can drive better click-throughs there, right? And then the element of landing page, right? So you need to make sure that the landing page is basically reflecting the ad copy or the offer which you're trying to run. So let's say if you're sending students to Australia, or you're basically bidding on the Australian abroad education keywords, right? Then your ideally your landing page should talk about the Australian piece, which means there's a little bit more work involved in dissecting the campaign. So if you are placing students in Australia, you are basically putting them in a different campaign or different ad group, and making sure that you have a different landing page for Australia, and so on and so forth, right? So that you get the relevancy element in those leads, number one. Number two, you may insist, this is a function of if you are getting junk leads in your forms, then you may insist for either SMS verification or basic number assessment, saying the field has only numbers in it, right? So if you insist on SMS verification, then you are sure that you will get a valid mobile number. Or you may ask for CAPTCHA just to ensure that a human is filling the lead instead of a bot, right? That will be very interesting. And then the elements like testimonials will help you increase the fill rate, right? Now this may not necessarily has to do with the lead quality, but it definitely has to do with the performance of your campaign. Now, similarly in Facebook ads, you may go ahead and target only the demography which is of interest to you. So let's say if you're targeting students who are between a certain age group for the for this category of offer, then you may go ahead and do so, because that instead of doing and targeting everybody under the sun, we should focus on a particular demography. Then second, a lot of consultants would actually also buy database, I don't know, from all kinds of sources, right? So you may buy from colleges or universities, by legal or otherwise means, right? Now, if you know for a fact that those are the audience who may actually be looking for, or are likelihood of being, or looking for some sort of education outside of India, what you may do is you may create a custom audience of that list. So a typical marketer would go ahead and send an email blast, unsolicited email, asking for, okay, here we go, we are doing broad consulting, please register with us. We'll, we have these tie-ups with all the coolest universities in the world, and so on and so forth. So that's an email way of doing it, right? The same list you can take ahead and create a custom audience on that list. So what that means is the advertisements will only be shown to that particular audience which is part of that list, which means you're not spending money on even demographic targeting. You're only spending money for potential students who are where you have purchased a list, or where you're sure that this particular audience would actually see the ad. So that's an interesting way to focus. Now this assumes that you know what list you're getting. Otherwise, you may be wasting clicks if that is not the case. The third is, let's say if you have an active subscription list, right, which is running on your website, or you are collecting leads from your landing pages and so on and so forth, right, from your website and other campaigns, you may create them as a custom audience in Facebook and say, I want to create a lookalike audience. So what lookalike audience does is it basically creates a list of audience which are which are similar looking to the list which you provided as an input, and generates a list of audience which are which can be targeted, as you can see in the picture, right? So this gentleman likes this sort of ice cream, and then a lookalike audience will produce all the people who would like ice cream and are similar to this guy. Now that's what I mean by lookalike, and so the ads will only be shown to this universe of leads, right? Which is pretty cool, because then you're not wasting money, and you're trying to get the relevant guys in the audience, right? Then there are other factors to increase the leads from various sources. So right, for example, one is so I'll talk about this in the context of how do we get the higher lead volume, basically, or more leads, right, organically. So you have website as one key source, and then I'll talk about the credibility elements which will drive more leads. Then the content strategy, the local elements, and the conversion practices, and the tools, right? So let's talk about each of them. So first and foremost, right, so website is your gateway to your business for somebody who is coming from outside. They don't know you, right? So it's surprising, a lot of people I've met, talked to, spoken to, have a very I would say do not spend a lot on website versus what they spend on other mediums. I mean, I've spoken to businesses in education who may spend north of 40-50 lakhs on website, on offline medium, but probably spend only even 50,000 rupees or even less on the website. It's pretty interesting to see that, because website is an important asset for the business, right? And one must look very, very carefully on the website. So the idea is website becomes an important conversion story for the traffic. So it needs to be given enough attention. Now, what that look like, right? First is the whole when somebody comes in, they should stick around to the website. So the design of the site or the navigability of the site should be such that anybody who comes in is able to find the information they are looking for, right? The site needs to be responsive. So when I say responsive, it meaning the site should be able to open nicely both on mobile as well as on your tablets or your desktops. A lot of users out there are accessing internet only through mobile, right? So when the marketer must be aware of that fact. And then this is also an interesting element, right? We may even spend thousands of rupees or maybe lakhs of rupees on building a nice, cool website. But here it goes, right? And we will spend only few hundred rupees on hosting the website, which basically means that your page load times are poor, right? So if it may take several seconds, 5, 10, 15 seconds to even load the page. Now, what's the point of having a coolest website design if it doesn't load very well? And getting a good good hosting is not that amount of money these days, right? But the fact is, we want a lot of marketers do not pay attention to the page load is a factor which will basically affect their organic rankings, at the same time deliver poor user experience, resulting in lower leads, lower conversion on the website. So I think one needs to spend ideally spend on this element, right? Now I just pulled some stats here from why mobile is important. The research which we have referred to shows that 46% of the users are using mobile to access the internet, which makes it very, very important that the site is responsive. Then the other elements are credibility factors. So once somebody lands into the site, they're going to look for things of so that they get more familiar with the business. They try to find elements of why they should do business with you, right? So what are those elements which will actually drive the credibility, right? So one, testimonials. There are students or the parents of the students talking about why they chose you over other consultants, or why they wanted to work with you, what they got from you, the benefits of working with your business. And if the visitor sees those things, it helps build a lot of credibility, which in turn will result in giving you leads, right? Then you may also add in terms of about your business, as in how long you have been in business, right? How many centers you operate from. That kind of gives a feeling to the audience who comes to the site, saying, this business is credible. They have been doing this for a long time, have really great partnerships with very good universities, have a track record of placing students abroad, and so on and so forth. Now, we can take the same in the case of other education businesses. If you train students, for example, right, you may want to create testimonials for what is the benefit. So let's say if you are in the working professional segment training students, then you may the result of working professional getting trained is either they get a higher salary, or they get promotion, or one of the other elements which they will gain out of that doing a certification with you or a course with you, right? Or they got a job switch, whatever. So that is the benefit they got. And if other students who are aspiring to be like that sees those testimonial, they'll be extremely interested, or would like to do business with you versus your competition, right? And having an active social media presence adds to the credibility. So when I say active, meaning there is some activity going on, and not just one post which which is sent on that social media once in a year, right? So you need to have somebody working on that an active. Now again, this is a call of the business. If you don't see people really doing a whole lot on the Twitter, then please don't invest on that. But I think Facebook is a way where people actually go and look at the profile. So one must maintain, in my opinion, some presence on Facebook, if not a whole lot. Then after the so there are two parts. So this is probably more relevant to only the broad education category, right? Once the the student walks in, right, a lot of other things would matter in terms of building the credibility, right? So reviews on external student forums. So what others are talking about your business, right? What your an alumni is talking about your business, either on your website. So you may even choose to host a forum on your website where people are participating. Now, having a forum is a lot of work, right? Because you need to maintain the forum. You need to have somebody who is going to spend time on maintaining a forum. So that's a call the business has to take, whether they have enough bandwidth or reasons to invest in forum. If you invest, because a forum without posts, without active participation is actually even worse than having a forum. So not having a forum is a good thing in that case, right? And then you need to interact with the students even after the admissions. So why I say that? So basically, if you are placing hundreds of students every year, if you are in touch with your alumni, there are good chances that people talking to them would carry a very positive impression about you, and is very likely to enroll or work with you or like to do business with you. Now, the other element which is going to help you increase the lead volume is having an active content strategy. Now, again, this is an area where not a lot of people actually make investment, but the ones who would do and who believe in this, obviously, because this doesn't pay off like tomorrow. It's not like ads where you spend today and you get lead tomorrow, but it certainly slowly and surely it works and generate leads, and then once it starts generating leads, those leads are, I won't say free of cost, but those will come to you automatically. So and these are some of the research we have picked up from few sources, which says that if you blog, right, if you have an active blog, then you have more index links out there, then you'll have more index pages out there in the search engines, and so which means that your visibility increases, and that will increase the organic traffic to your site. There's another thing which you can try on in the blog, and I've seen at least one of our clients doing so, is that they basically don't talk about all these standard things, right? They take a different approach, which is they get their students to share the experience of working with the business. So let's say if you have a student who has been placed abroad for a couple of years, they write about you, or in general how they felt about doing business with you. Or even if they don't even write that, if they just write about how they are, doing how's the campus life going for them there, what are the typical admission processes or the issues which one faces, cost of living things, whatnot, right? The job scene, what's going on there right now, so on and so forth. That's the authentic way to communicate some of the information from your blog. And if you have your alumni participate in it, nothing like it, right? I mean, it's a huge deal because people would believe that, and they'll stick to that content. They'll read that stuff. That's pretty interesting. And there's another angle which one of our clients have used is sell the travel appeal. Now, if you're, let's say, partnering with somebody in New York, right? So you're not only selling a course, which is, New York, but you're actually selling them Statue of Liberty. You're selling them Times Square. You're selling them, the Wall Street. You're selling them. So you can figure out a travel appeal and sort of picturize the tourism angle into it, and help the student basically create that visual imagination in their life, so that the appeal helps them take on on your this particular thing, right? So that choose that particular destination. So if you have a destination where where there is a tourism appeal, feel free to use it. It'll be cool because people would like. I mean, if you are, let's say, sending somebody to Florida, I mean, show the beaches, right? I mean, people love to see the stuff in the water, all kinds of stuff. And I'm talking about one of our customers doing it, and honestly, I just loved it, right? I mean, it was awesome. So I'm sure students would also like it because I like this approach. And if you try, let us know on how it goes for you. Then getting more traffic from a local presence. So you should have a Google Plus page. It's not a whole lot of work to get that done, but if you have not done already, please do so. It will make a difference if people are searching in a local area. So if you're based in New Delhi and somebody searching for an overseas education consultant in New Delhi, then your name would pop up. If you're not listed there, then it won't, and you would lose that on that organic traffic. At the same time, you should look at creating, your business listed on the sites like Just Dial and Sulekha and others, so that, and you can go for paid listing here too. It won't hurt. It's not a whole lot of money, most likely with these search engines, that you can try. Then from an analysis perspective, you can look at Google Analytics to find out where the traffic is coming from actually for a site. And that information may help you spend more money in that location. So for example, let's say if your traffic is coming from Himachal, right? Then you may even look at doing a print ad in Himachal area, because you feel that the students are coming from there and they are converting into your students, and you may feel that maybe next year you should spend more money in that region. So you can look at Google Analytics as an angle from an analysis standpoint to see where the traffic originates from. And then if you are using goals and stuff like that in Google Analytics, you can find out which region converts the most, and there's a whole lot of things there which one can look at there. Right. Then one more thing which is important from a conversion standpoint, and a lot of marketers do not pay a whole lot of attention to this element, right? So conversion is basically, if you see, is a simple thing, which is a particular visitor is trading their contact information in lieu of something, right? So if you just put a form in front of them and it's just say, submit the form and we will contact you, right? So which means that, they know that you will contact them if they submit the form. They are not getting anything in return of submitting the form. Now, if you change that, right? If you basically give them something in return of their information, and a lot of them do, but a lot of them do not. And most of the times you may look at doing, let's say, checking their scholarship eligibility, or letting them download TOEFL papers or sheets, or you may just give them newsletter subscription to get tips on how to find the best of the colleges out there. Or you can ask them to join on a counseling session, which could be a webinar or any of the face-to-face events, so that they can get their questions answered. So that's an interesting offer. Or any of those, and could be quiz. And so this, because we're talking about one category of education businesses, you can easily extrapolate that in your education business. If you're a training organization, you may offer a free an online course, which is an hour, 1 hour or 2 hour lesson on a particular topic that may just teach basic stuff, so that it gets somebody interested enough to share their information. I mean, you need to have a lead, or you need to have more conversion of the visitors. So that stuff will help you do that. So think of the offer as a great as a tool to convert the visitor from your website to lead. Now, how do we make sure that we get better leads from organic traffic? Right. I mean, the first and foremost is, you should obviously the form which you're getting filled. If that gives you good leads, great. Don't change it. If it's giving you junk leads, try to add more fields to it. Right. Right. So the more fields you add, the conversion will drop, but the relevancy is likely to increase. So you'll be focused on good set of leads. So you'll have to drive the balance. And having only 5 leads may not make sense, but maybe having 500 leads will. Or having 5,000 leads won't, right? So you need to fix, because you'll have a finite bandwidth in terms of follow-up and spending time, quality time with each of those students in making them, understand about your business or how or the courses which you're offering. So you have to take that call. Then a lot of students, this could be interesting, right? In a lot of businesses, especially, I'll talk about the education, the abroad category, as well as a couple other categories, where there is no, the students may enroll or sign up on a form like long before they actually are ready to take the, take the plunge. So you may, I'm sure if I have the audience here who have written GRE or GMAT or one of those exams, right? A lot of students actually went for a write GRE probably in if you're an engineering student, maybe in the second year, or if you're a if you're a 3-year if you do 3-year programs in the first year maybe, or third year or second year, right? So if you're writing in the second year, you're not ready to go the same year. You will probably wait the next year and then you'll go, right? So if you in the process of doing so register, then as a business, I'm collecting a lead which may not be buying today from me, but is as a potential lead for me in future. Now, you don't have to sell it to them today, but at the same time, you need to make sure you connect with them enough so that when they are ready to go, they actually think about you as a potential option to consider as their consultant, right? So that's important. The same is true for if I take the case of working professionals, right? In working professional category, if I'm working, let's say, I have no hurry to do a course of a certain type. I mean, there is no hurry, because in all these other education segments, if you are writing IAS exam or any of those competitive exams, you have a certain deadline. You will lose in 1 year if you don't write, so on and so forth. But if I'm a working professional, I want to take a course on Hadoop or big data or one of those, there is no hurry. I mean, I don't have to buy the course today, right? So what if I come into your website, if I submit, if you are in touch with me, the company who's in touch with me more, or the one I perceive I want to do business with, is the one who's going to get my business. So that's what, gets very important in this situation from a conversion standpoint. Now, what are the conversion tools one can have on websites? I mean, this is a pretty simple list. There could be more. So you can have a typical top bar on your website. So as soon as the website opens up, something comes from the top which hangs in, and where you can say click to download or something like that. It's pretty visible. It's mostly in the odd color. So if your site is white background, it may come as a red color or something like that. It's pretty visible. And so you can use that, or you can do a pop-up forms. You can have image CTAs on the sidebar. You can have chat boxes. You can have comments on blogs, which becomes lead after somebody submits, and so on and so forth. There are multiple ways you can use conversion tools, but most of these are the standard ones which are being used in the majority of the cases. Now, ensuring relevant students walk in and avoiding initial drop-offs. So how do we get more and more students to come to our center and encourage more and more who would become leads to come to our center? So what do we do? I think most people would agree that turnaround time affects the the person who is submitted. The first party who gets in touch with them is going to have some impact on the student. And just the way we are set up, most of the marketing organizations are set up, they may not have anybody manually available to follow up with the lead pretty much immediately. There are organizations like that. I mean, I'm aware of fact, who actually have a certain timeline sorted out, that if I get a lead, let's say at 3 p.m., I must have an outbound call going within 30 minutes of the lead coming in, or something like that. Or some of them have become even advanced, and this is actually a question of infrastructure, as in how much you believe in this, that it will affect your business, is that they have invested in infrastructure where as soon as the lead comes in, a call is originated and placed to the lead immediately, and they are connected to one of your counselors, right? So that's another way to sort of shorten or speed up the process and make sure that the turnaround time of when the lead signs up is pretty high. Now, there are other things if you do not have all these infrastructure, you can at least basically do simple auto response email thanking them to fill up the form, or send an SMS to them thanking saying we will be in touch with you shortly. And a lot of organizations probably once they get a lead, it mostly goes in an email, right? And then unless that email is forwarded to a relevant consultant who is going to call this lead, that basically leads is just going to sit there. So you may look at some level of basic distribution. So you may, let's say, send once the lead is in, you may direct that lead to a particular center or a particular consultant, or have some way to actually get the attention to the lead as soon as possible, so that your turnaround time is less. So the faster you do, the shorter the turnaround time is definitely going to increase the chances of your walk-ins, right? Then this is another one, and this is most overlooked, right? A lot of people who sign up have some basic 2 or 3 or 4 questions. And if you are in a business of education and doing it for a long time, you know those 4 or 5 questions are. You train your counselors on answering them. A lot of times you may not even reach the person because they switch off or the phone is not reachable. I mean, that's pretty common things which happen. Or even if you speak, the counselor will start explaining all the thing about the basic question. But you may be ready, you should be ready with all the basic answers in place, written down in a language which is easy to understand and consume, and not something which the counselor will jot down at the time, because counselors may not be great at writing emails, right? So they need to be told what to be sent. what document needs to be attached. So you basically train them or have a system which the same information goes out, give a very professional look to your firm. And if you do so and are prepared in advance of, with that information, you will be able to quickly respond to a query, as soon as the call is finished, right? I think it's a great way to engage the student and create a good impression so that you get you get them to come to your center. Now the same will apply in other category of businesses where there is a physical meeting involved. These could be training companies and so on and so forth, right? Then a lot of times you would probably even after all this happening, you may still miss you will still not have the leads showing up, right? So you do a follow-up call. So you would probably have a process of 2 or 3 or 4 follow-ups before the lead shows up, right? And then there is a point of so it's a cost versus benefit ratio. So there will be a point on each lead where you may assess that after 4 calls or 5 calls, it doesn't make sense to follow up on them, because phone is going to be an expensive medium of follow-up. It's not cheap, right? You spend time, you spend money on the counselor, and they're they are just basically making calls. So what you may actually do is you may create a series of email autoresponders, could be 3 or 4 or 5 email series, which basically are pre-written emails, which encourage the lead to come back to you, or encourage the lead to fill another form or something of that nature, where you again see that, okay, this lead is again interested. So then only you go back and touch them. You don't just go and touch them because they're sitting dead for a while. You will actually touch them because there has been some trigger on them, so that you do not lose a lot of counseling bandwidth on leads which are not good enough to be followed up. So you may want to do that as a as a best practice. Then if you are using tools like LeadSquared, right, you will be able to find when a lead is showing activity with your business. So for example, a lead may show up on your website from some other ad. They may not fill the form, right, at that point of time, but they just found your Facebook page, clicked on that, come to your website, or looked at a Google ad again, and then come and went to your website, and so on and so forth. Now, if you're not using such tools, you would never know that a lead has come back to your site again, and you lose the opportunity to reconnect with them, right? So that you can potentially build into your business and make sure that you are giving enough attention to leads which need attention, and not necessarily following up on the ones which are in front of you in Excel. So this is another way to make sure that you drive more walk-ins. Then how do we ensure that we engage with the lead? Especially in overseas education consultants, I've heard one of our clients saying that it's a long sales cycle. Even if you have secured an admission, or I would say secured a seat, and until the admission happens, right, there still is a chance that the student may switch the consultant. And it is a bad thing to do, but it happens. That's a fact. So how do we ensure that we basically engage with the students even after we have done the counseling and so on and so forth, right? So we basically have either updates ready for them. We send them updates regularly. We host sessions to address their queries, or on an ongoing basis, right? We help them identify some of the basic things which they need, which I'm sure most of you are already doing it, like accommodations and so on and so forth, right? Get a hold on the family, so that not only the student but the parents too, right? So you build a relationship with them too, and be in touch with them, right? And if you have student-run blogs, as I pointed out earlier, right, you can start sharing those with your students, and encourage them to read that so that they learn. And so basically, you are being in touch with them on an ongoing basis will help you, right? Will help you secure their business, even after even after they have become your student, but you're not giving them any opportunity to switch to another consultant or something like that, So so these are the few things which you can look at. Then analyzing the marketing spend to identify the most profitable sources. So this probably is an exercise not many businesses do, really, right? I mean, most of them would make a guesswork, and which I think smart business owners know that guessworks are right because they've been doing this for a long time, right? But in the age of numbers and all these analysis tools, nice tools available here, and especially in the digital medium, you have the ability to identify, which sources are working good for you, which are not. And I would, encourage you to do that at least once a year, or probably every month if you have systems which are allowing you to do that analysis. But unless you capture the lead source, there is no analysis out there, right? So if you're in business for a long time, you probably already know all the tricks of the game. But with digital coming into picture, you can get some additional insights in terms of what is working, what is not working, and it'll be a good idea to sort of look at that from a various angles, from an analysis standpoint, and figure out which lead sources work for you the best. The another way to look at it is, let's say if you're offering a multiple programs, right? Then doing analysis becomes much more important, identifying, okay, which programs are doing best, right? Which programs are not doing as well, which region responds to which type of programs. Maybe people in Jabalpur likes to go to Australia, I don't know, right? So if that is the case and you draw some correlation, then you may spend some dollars educating people in Jabalpur of what are the best practice to go to Australia, and so that your money is well spent, you get more leads and relevant leads for the next season, right? So that's the idea for doing the analysis, right? And you can basically do the analysis and find out which sources actually work for you. I think in most of the cases, referrals do the best job, and probably I've heard this from several of our clients, and so that's basically it. Well, I think that's all I had to cover today, and thank you all for joining the session, and I will open the floor for questions. So I've got one question, okay, so this probably came from Shubhendu, and it started, he asked me at 3:11, and I was actually in the session, so I didn't respond to it. Maybe I can respond to now. Shubhendu, you can ask that question. And then we have Juhi asking some question, but it's not come up. It just says hi. So feel free all to please punch in your questions, and we'll be happy to address them. Okay, so I've got a question which says, I just missed the webinar. When will I get the recorded version? Shubhadeep, the webinar is recorded, and you will get the recording within 4 business days. So it's Tuesday, so you should get that before Monday. We'll send an email with the recording link, and you'll be able to have a look at that then. Okay. Then there's another question. How about understanding external factors affecting leads? Shirish, I didn't get the question completely. What do you mean by understanding external factors affecting leads? Okay, so if you can please type in. Meanwhile, I'll take another question from Juhi, which she says, what first-hand information should be given to a student? Well, I think it's a great question, and it's. I think the first and foremost is basically making sure that they are, that they know before even they become a lead, they should look at your business in terms of how you have helped other students. So I think that will so basically testimonials and so on and so forth. That will be an important thing. After that, when they come in, right? I think if you ask me, I mean, my perspective will be to help them identify what will make their careers, because if you see people go abroad or any of the ventures they do, even in education, they take a particular course to do something with their lives, right? They would want to build a career or become something in their life. So I think as a counselor, I will help them identify what choices are available to them which will make a better career for them or open bigger opportunities for them. So I think the information should be tailored towards that, so that they know, okay, these are the benefits, or these are the things which I will gain out of that. So I think that's how I would structure the information given to the students. Then there's Manish Chatterjee. He's asking, I want to conduct a survey, but as we know, nobody wants to fill the survey form easily. What can be done to get genuine survey answers from students? It's a great question. Manish, I think I have not done a student survey myself, so I think a good way to get answers on surveys, basically giving them something in return. So if you have not tried that, maybe you want to try that, giving them some piece of in exchange of connecting the survey. Now that has to be tangible. It cannot be intangible. And a good way to start, and because you said there is not genuine survey answers, right? A good way to probably do a survey is potentially looking at doing a telephonic survey, and I'll tell you how you can probably approach that. I just thought about it as I'm speaking. So let's say you have a season which starts in August, let's say, right? So you may spend some money, 5, 10, 15, 20,000 on collecting leads of all these abroad kind of guys, right? And then do a telephonic survey with them, right? And you say, if you answer 5 questions in my survey, I'll send you so and so things, or I'll give you an extra counseling for free or something in return, and you collect that survey on the phone. If people are not answering your web survey, then you may collect the survey on the phone. That could be one way to sort of do that survey. Or after you collect some information on the phone, your counselor will have some bonding with that candidate, and you may then send a genuine survey over email and get that filled. So I think there are multiple ways you can try that, and it's not easy to get the surveys filled for free, and you will get ingenuine response. But I think if you try a few things I mentioned, maybe you will figure out the best way to do that. Juhi is asking when to decide that a lead has become obsolete and should now be left on its own. I think if you ask me, I'm a salesperson, right? So I won't give up until the lead says no, like on the face. Unless and until that, I will keep trying. But I think a way to look at that is, given the lead volume you have, right? And if you get fresh leads coming in, you may decide to ignore a lead because they don't fit your ideal customer profile, your profile of the client you want to serve, right? So what is the ideal customer profile? Very simply put, if you know that that somebody who's going abroad needs to have a number of rupees in his pocket, or needs to have a certain number of marks in his whatever, or 2 or 3 or more 4 factors. Now you put all of them together and you figure out that they don't fit into one or more of that, then obviously you don't follow with them. If they fit into one or more and they've said that we have already tied up with another consultant, then they've already made a choice to connect with somebody else. You may so I won't give up on such leads myself, but you can continue to connect with them and see if there's an option to pull them back, because sometimes it does happen. So I think the key understanding here is first making sure that you have a good understanding of what a good lead will be for you, number one. And when the lead becomes an unresponsive, if they're a good lead, they fit your ideal customer profile, they're not responsive, after a certain period of time, you can basically, could be month or 2 months or 3 months, depending on your business, you can basically ignore them. Then I want to target fresh out of college students from tier 2 cities in Facebook. What is the interest targeting I can do? Suren will take this offline if you are the same person I know. Yeah? Okay, because this will be an involved answer. Shirish is asking a question about factor from industry. Example, other colleges are better, that is competitions. Okay, I think Shirish, the first question, how about understanding external factors affecting college? Factors from industry, example, other colleges are better. Okay, so Shirish, I think, there are wide choices and there are enough students to fill those choices, right? I think the best you can do is, let's say if you're only representing a few type of colleges out there, right? Then you have to position only them. There could be other consultant having a different college or a better perceived a better course. I think what you have to highlight is what is good which you're offering and how it will help the career of a student. I think these are the things which you can try. And as I mentioned, right, if the location of where your college is situated has a tourism appeal or travel appeal, and try that too, right? So I think that's something which a business has to evolve and find out, which colleges they can position better. But I think it's not only about just the college or the other guy having a better college. It's a product which you're offering, and there will be a type of students who will attract your product, and you have to basically get better at identifying those students, right? Then we have Juhi again asking a question: what to do when there is a lead who is impatient to listen to all the information? um, impatient to listen. Basically, they don't want to listen to all what you're saying, right? I think I don't know. It's a great question. It's like the customer doesn't want to listen to you. Then basically you listen to them. I would say, and then hear them out first and see if they really want to, take your advice or not. If they don't want to take your advice, then I think you can move on to the next student. Then we have Suren again. What are the other ways I can target these prospective students? My product is a residential MBA program. Suren, I think for an MBA program, I think you have to. So there are multiple, types of student you will have to go after. I mean, ones who are supposed to do or could do an MBA. These could be from colleges who have not where there is aspiration to do MBA, or I think I need to think through this, Suren. I don't have a good answer for you right now. Let me take that offline. Yeah, please. Okay. What do you think is the best way of promoting online educational services? Is it Facebook ads, adverts, or any other options like paid webinars? I think you would try, Shubhadeep, all of that one by one. I think each of them has a cost to it. It takes a certain bandwidth to do all of that. And as you do it, I'll take a good example of our own. I mean, we started doing webinars a long time back. We also did some of the ground events in Bangalore. And we didn't generate a lot of interest out of our ground events, which were not they were not turning into sales for us, right? So we stopped that. So we tried that. We didn't work very well for us, or maybe the format was not great, and we stopped that. So I think all of these you need to try that. I think the important thing here is to measure whatever you're trying, so that you will be able to conclude if a particular promotional activity is actually helping you drive the sales or not, or drive positive interest or not. So I think that's going to be important for you. So which activity is not, is not important unless you try all of them. And what is important is you measure them so that you can conclude which one actually are more effective. Please throw some light on costing between inbound marketing and outbound marketing. Ramesh. I think both of them have their own cost, right? So, and probably I may not understand the outbound marketing. What do you mean by outbound marketing? If you mean, just by making pure calls, so I think that may not be super relevant in a B2C situation, because you cannot make outbound calls to thousands of people. So that's not going to work. So if you say outbound, meaning a lead coming in and then calling them, then obviously you have to decide if your business can afford to do an outbound call when the lead comes in. So if a ticket size is small, if it's less than it's few thousand rupees, let's say, of a sales is what you'll make off a particular lead, a particular deal, then outbound probably becomes very difficult to make sense from a business standpoint, right? Outbound is an outbound call. Now, as far as inbound goes, now inbound has multiple channels. So you have your content strategy, you have got your paid ads, you've got your organic strategy. Now all of them, I won't say if for the it's not an either or situation. You have to do, I think, a mix of all of that to figure out and then proportionally allocate the budget in inbound. Now in inbound, the biggest cost could be, if you're doing a content strategy, a biggest cost could be writing a blog or something like that, right? Now if you write blog, I mean, that's expensive, believe me, it's not cheap, right? When I say cheap, expensive meaning if you write high quality stuff, right? If you write good quality content, which is going to be picked up by Google and others, and where the traffic will land, and it'll be enough interesting for the student to stick and read through that, I think it's not going to come cheap for you, right? Plus, you need people who can turn that content around into a PPT or into a PDF or into a video, right? So you need somebody who can take the same content, repurpose that content to multiple ways, so that you can again start generating leads from those sources, right? So you have a content in a blog format, pick that up, create slides out of it, push that on SlideShare, right? Put a form on SlideShare, start collecting lead from there. So there are multiple ways you can do that. So I think you'll have to try and look at what budgets you have and then spend on each of those activities. What could be the best mode of advertisement to cater to the niche target audience, especially creating the awareness of emerging profession? Sumit, I think it's a very interesting question, and basically it's you're almost saying, from what I've understood, is sort of introducing a new product, right? Almost, or a new concept which is not aware, people are not aware to it. I think a way to go about doing that is associating that product, and obviously you run a risk of branded as a product in another category, but you have to take that risk to get the traffic in, right? For example, let's say if you are competing against a product A and positioning a new product B, so you may write a post, and I'm just giving a couple ideas here. You may write a post as in why B is better than A, or what are the differences between A and B. So somebody searching for A will find B basically, right? That's one way to do it. Then if you run ads, right, you basically run ads on the keywords of A but show B, right? And when it comes to when they land on your landing page, you basically explain the product. Either again, they have to take a chance there where you say why B is better than A, and you can put a video there or some sort of a document which can be downloaded, whatever, right? So you can sort of take multiple approaches like that, in positioning. So I think I don't have a straightforward answer to that, but I think I sort of shared few pointers there. We'll take just two more questions. We are running out of, we are going over 4 p.m. So I'll take two more questions. If my company provides online as well as offline courses, how do I decide which course to be rolled for free and which one to be charged? Also suggest ways to determine the amount to be charged for a course. Manish, I cannot answer all these questions because I don't, it will be in the context, right? I think what you offer for free, should be something which has some value. So I'll probably address it in a different way. So when you're offering something for free, there are two reasons why you would want to do that. First, you want to collect leads so that you can sell them a paid course in future. So that's why you're offering something for free. Now, whatever you're offering for free should have enough value in the eyes of the the visitor, so that they are willing to share their information. And if they get super value out of that free stuff, there is a high likelihood that you will get them enrolled onto your paid program, right? So I think that's what you would offer for free, which is basically leaning to your paid program. It's like a trailer of a movie, and then you're encouraging them to see the movie. So that's how I would look at the free part. How you want to charge for the course? I think in the online world, if you're selling the course online, I think there are multiple ways to do that. I mean, you can do price A/B testing. You can, today you may price it for 10,000, tomorrow 15,000, third day, not third day, but over a period of time you change the pricing, and you find if the demand doesn't go down, you can say that there is a price elasticity in the market. So you are able to charge more for the same course, and the demand is stable, or you are able to sell the same number of copies or same number of students. Then and if you're able to increase the price, maybe there are people out there who can pay more. So you can try that, right? What I've heard is if you sell it really cheap, at least education, you don't get a lot of buyers, and the buyers are a difficult one to sell to if you're selling a lower price course. So feel free to charge more, and try that first before going down. I'll take one more question, which is, according to you, investing on third-party consultant is not a good idea, right? Idea. Kindly elaborate and justify. So I didn't get the context of this question from where you're asking this question, Rupesh. But if you're saying, if you meant probably if you're picking the point which I mentioned about buying the third-party data, if that is what you meant, that is my personal experience, and I've heard from other customers. 50% of the data is junk, which is coming in, and people just sell that data again and again to 100 people, and then that data is of no good value. In fact, I've seen some of the data myself. One of my customers bought, and I looked at it. It had all the A-rated, XXS rated words in the email addresses and all that. I mean, you can imagine, that those are definitely bad data, right? And and I'm telling you, there were more than 10% of poor quality words in those email addresses, which means that their data was stolen left, right, and center. So that's the reason I said buying such data may not be of super value. Now, if you have such data, right, there's a service which LeadSquared offers. It's called as emailvalidator.co. If you're buying emails from whatever sources you can validate those email addresses in LeadSquared in emailvalidator.co. It's a free service, right? So you can validate one by one, any number of time. You can also validate up to 500 records at a time, or your email records in that service for free. If you need more, then it's a paid, it's not a huge money. You can contact us if you need that email validation service. So we'll be happy to offer you that. Awesome. So we are close to end of our session. I'll thank you all for joining the session. There are a couple of questions which we couldn't take today. I'll try, we can address them over email, or we'll put them on our blog with these questions. And we're already 5 minutes over the time schedule. And so thank you all for joining. I really appreciate all your time. And next time, please help me fill the survey which I sent before the webinar. We'll have a very interesting data to share among all of us. So I would love to get more interest, because these surveys we can then publish for other people to get benefit from. So hope to get your more response in the next survey. Thank you all for joining, and you have a awesome day. Bye-bye.